Hi everyone, I'm Darren and I am your everyday financial advisor here to help you on your journey to financial success. Today we're going to discuss how you or your advisors may be sabotaging your planning and preventing you from making the most of your financial gains. This is an issue that really isn't talked about a whole lot. Most people don't even recognize it as being a problem, and that's what makes it really so challenging. I've seen it both in clients and in advisors that I've worked with, and it can cost you significantly in the long run in regards to your overall financial planning. So what I like to call it is personal financial bias. And what I mean by that is that you simply dismiss an idea or a concept and you don't really have any kind of rational or logical reason to do it. It's just something you do. So let's talk about advisors and where it can be a big problem with them. In our business, we often have advisors come and go. And when an advisor leaves, their business is passed on to existing advisors. And I've taken over some business from other advisors. And when I go through it, I try to figure out, what they've been doing for their client, why they're doing it. And then I talk to their clients and get a feel for what their overall financial planning approach is. And this one advisor in particular, I noticed that when I was going through all these clients, they all basically had a very similar portfolio, and it was very conservative. But then when I looked at these clients a little more thoroughly and looked into their what we call your know your client rules, which gives us an idea of what kind of risk they're willing to take, the majority of these people were what we would call moderately aggressive or aggressive risk takers, which means their portfolios should have been balanced in a more aggressive approach. When I contacted these clients and I had asked them, this is your portfolio. It's fairly conservative. Is there a reason for that? And they basically said, no, our advisor just recommended that. That's what we went in. And then I said to them, okay, well, your risk assessment suggests that you're a little higher risk taker, like more in a moderately aggressive to aggressive type of approach. Has anything changed? Is there anything I should know about that would indicate that that's wrong? And in every single case, they all said, no, that's right. That's pretty much how we are. So in talking to other advisors that took over some of this advisor's business, we realized he had put every one of his clients into a conservative type of portfolio. And the reason is that he was a pretty conservative person himself. He didn't believe in taking risk. He liked to be lean towards the more conservative side with his own investments. And he was basically forcing that attitude onto his clients and making choices for them that wasn't necessarily in their best interest. So the result is that we have clients out there that might have been working with this particular advisor for 10, 15, 20 years that probably should have portfolios that are worth a lot more than they are. They weren't upset because they'd been making money, but their returns were nowhere close to what they should have been based on their risk tolerance. So a lot of work had to go into making sure these people were invested properly. The second area I see it most often with advisors is where they don't bring ideas to their clients because they personally don't believe in something themselves. That can be extremely damaging. And I saw this a lot when I was working with other advisors. And to be honest with you, if we go back to my first video about choosing the right financial advisor for you, I was trying to tell you a little bit about the difference between good advisors and great advisors. And great advisors will always bring good ideas to clients, even if it's not necessarily a good idea for them. They might not necessarily believe in a certain concept. They wouldn't do it themselves, but they recognize that this might be a really good idea for their client. And so they think it's worth their while to present it still. And they're good about making sure that they present both the cons and the pros, so the clients have a really good idea of what they're getting into and can make a decision based on the facts. So where I saw this a lot was in estate planning. Where I worked, if a financial plan was done for a client, it would have to come across my desk and I would add my input to it in regards to estate planning and whether or not there was any recommendations I'd like to make. And there was a handful of advisors that didn't want me to see those plans. So I had to go to them and ask, why not? And the answer was always the same. Uh, in the estate planning world, one of the best tools we use uh, in financial planning is life insurance. And a lot of people don't like life insurance, but as an estate planning tool, it is amazing. I mean, it's got great tax benefits. It's a great way to minimize the impact of taxation during your lifetime and certainly at your death. We're going to actually in the future get into some videos about the benefits of life insurance and where it can really have a positive impact on your overall planning. The problem with these advisors was that they simply didn't like insurance. They didn't own it themselves, they didn't believe in it, and they wouldn't recommend it to their clients. And the problem with that is they are making a decision for their clients without allowing the clients to make a decision for themselves. And that's just not what an advisor should do, especially a good to great advisor. Our job is to bring you guys great ideas, present the facts, give you all the pros, all the cons, allow you, educate you, and allow you to make a decision based on all that information on if it's the right idea for you. It's not our job to make choices for you. And unfortunately, there's still advisors out there that do that. And if you remember back to that first video about choosing the right advisor, those are what I kind of called the dinosaurs. These are the advisors that they do things their way. They don't bother educating themselves. They don't bother trying to update their knowledge base. I used to put together lunch and learns, breakfast seminars, all kinds of educational events for advisors so that they could become better acquainted with all the different estate planning tools that are available to them. And that handful of advisors that didn't want me to see their financial plans and didn't want me to make estate planning recommendations never came to any of those events. And that's the reason why they really can't possibly do a good job for their clients, because they just simply don't, they're not willing to learn and they're not willing to grow. Now, I also see personal bias with clients. And we'll stay with insurance because it's the easy one. Let's be honest, no one likes insurance. It's not fun. It's not sexy like your investments, right? No one likes talking about death. But the reality is, in terms of financial planning tools, it's amazing. It can do so many great things to protect a client, protect their family, protect their estate, and minimize the taxation they pay during their lifetime. So it's a great tool for implementing, really great financial and estate planning strategies. So I learned over the years, when I'm making my presentations, don't talk life insurance. Don't mention those two words. All my presentations were about, what the client's situation was, what the problem was, how we could solve it, how there's a product out there that can solve that problem for them. And, I put all the numbers out in front of them, all the facts. And once they were engaged in the idea, that's when I let them know, well, this is life insurance. And the majority of those people were like, really, I didn't know life insurance could do that for me. Let's talk more about it. But there's still a few that would all of a sudden, as soon as they heard those two words, the wall would go up and it was like, I don't like life insurance. And I always ask people the question, okay, I understand. Why don't you like life insurance? And the conversations always went something like this. I just don't. Well, okay, I understand that. Why don't you though? Well, my dad didn't believe in life insurance. His dad didn't believe in life insurance. Okay, so tell me, why don't you believe in life insurance? Why doesn't your dad believe in life insurance? Well, we just don't. You kind of see where I'm going with this. Eventually, I get to that point where I recognize that this person has such a personal financial bias against life insurance that I'm not getting anywhere with them. It's all emotional. There's no logic to their argument. They can't present any facts. They can't even tell me why they don't like it. They've just made a decision that they don't like it. And this is an area that can have really serious detrimental impact on you when it comes to your overall planning and your growth potential. Because if you're not willing to open your mind up to different ideas and ideas that maybe you aren't necessarily comfortable with at the beginning, but once you learn about them, once you investigate a little further, once you ask lots of questions, you start to realize, hey, this might be really great for me. So if we go back to those advisors that wouldn't allow me to make presentations to their clients because they didn't believe in estate planning, literally there are people that they have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes, all because of their own biases and the fact that they didn't allow their clients to make a decision themselves. And those clients aren't aware of that, or at least they may not be aware of that in the short term. In the long term, not bringing good ideas to your clients is probably one of the number one reasons why clients will eventually leave. Because at some point in time, a friend, a family member is going to say to them, oh, wow, my advisor, brought this great idea to me. Here's what it is. We're in it. And they're thinking, well, my advisor's never shown me this. Or they go to a seminar and they get presentations made and they're like, wow, this is a great idea. And they go to their advisor, why haven't you ever showed me this? And their advisor really can't give them a reason. They'll say things like, well, I didn't think it was the right idea for you. Right there, they've hurt themselves because they've shown to their clients at that point that they're making decisions for their client and not allowing their client to make those decisions themselves. And I said earlier, I've worked with some great advisors who didn't necessarily believe in life insurance themselves. They didn't own it on themselves in terms for estate planning at least, but they recognized that they had clients who might think it was a great idea, and they were always willing to sit in on appointments with me as I made that presentation. And when the client looked at them and asked, is this a good idea? They nodded and they said, yeah, I think it's a great idea for you. They don't have to tell the client they don't like it themselves or they don't think it's a good idea themselves, but they believed it was the right idea for their client. And that's one of the reasons that they are, in my mind, considered great advisors. So the takeaway from today really is this. Don't be closed-minded about areas of financial planning that maybe you don't know a whole lot about or you're not really comfortable about talking about. Let your advisor, provide you with the information, provide you with the education, provide you with the facts. Maybe you do a little bit of research yourself, but if you're willing to open your mind up to different ideas, you're going to see significantly better growth in your overall financial plan. If you only have an advisor that you meet with once a year, they go over the returns on your investments, maybe you've done a financial plan, they review it, but they really don't provide anything over and above that, it might be time to investigate getting a second opinion. Because you may have one of those advisors that can't get by their own personal bias and bring ideas to the table that might be really positive for you. And like I said, that could be costing you, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that money should be yours. Thank you for coming out. I really appreciate your time. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Give me some comments below. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. And refer me on to your friends and family. I really want to help out as many people as possible. Thanks again. Take care.